Z-Fighters have been continuing their intense training using the gravity chamber, being used mostly by the Saiyans and Piccolo. However, the humans have managed to spend a small bit of time, allowing them to get dramatically stronger. As for Gohan and Trunks, they continue to work with their mother to master the Blutz Wave machine, which they are making good progress with, even testing the machine out on Goku. However, they've had very minor success, not even managing to transform Goku into an Ozaru, or even make him grow more hair than he usually has. But for now, they continue to work for it, knowing that it will only be a matter of time before they get this right. But time is a luxury the Earth group doesn't have, as the threat of Frieza finally enters the atmosphere during the early hours of one morning. The power of Frieza and his forces entering the atmosphere does not go unnoticed, though. The Z-Fighters, who feel the Armada arriving on their planet, jump into action, all collecting their capsule corp to quickly throw together a plan. With the threat of Frieza and his army growing ever closer, the group figure out that they need to do something and they need to do it fast, deciding that they will break into 3 teams. Team 1 will consist of the Earthlings, who will race around the planet dealing with any foot soldiers they can find anywhere around the world, any that are getting way too close to a nearby city, while also being told by Vegeta and Nappa to deal with the likes of Zarbon, Dodoria and Q, pointing out their power levels, and also mentioning the fact that the humans should be stronger than them, so it shouldn't really be much of a fight. The humans wanting to head off and start helping immediately depart, with Tien and Krillin heading off to deal with the heavier hitters that they have been assigned, while Chi-Chi leads the other Z-Fighters into battle. Everyone then feels the energy of Frieza touch down on the planet. However, the power of 5 other strong fighters appear. Vegeta and Nappa are able to identify them as the Ginyu Force, but they decide to ignore them, deciding that Frieza would actually be the bigger threat to the planet. However, Goku, hearing this, realizes that he doesn't want the Ginyus to run around freely, so he and Piccolo decide that they will head off to deal with them before joining Vegeta and Nappa against Frieza. Hearing this, Vegeta laughs, saying that from what he can sense of Frieza's power, he'll be destroyed before Goku ever arrives on the battlefield. But Goku sits there with a serious face, as he feels out the power of Frieza. Soon Vegeta and Nappa leave, with Piccolo going off to head towards the Ginyu Force. Goku is about to join him when he turns to his sons, and asks them to head off with their mother and help them finish the Blutz Wave machine, telling them to finish it fast as possible before joining him on the battlefield. The 2 are annoyed, wanting to help, however Goku looks at them sternly. He tells his sons that he can sense something's off about Frieza's power. There's something greater to it, and he can't figure out what it is. He fears that the power of the Blutz Wave and possibly him turning Great Ape might be required. So he pleads with his sons to head off and help their mother to finish it and hopefully perfect it ASAP. The boys look shocked, but listen to their father, rushing back towards the lab, starting to help their mother, who had already started working on the Blutz Wave machine after hearing that Frieza Force had arrived on Earth. As the battle for Earth's survival begins, we see every Z-Fighter doing all they can. The humans rush around, making sure that no Frieza soldiers get anywhere near any major cities, destroying them and killing them before they get the chance. The once evil Saiyans rush towards Frieza's power, using all of their speed to get there fast, with a sadistic look on their face, while Piccolo finds himself coming face to face with 5 people, who call themselves the Ginyu Force. Piccolo begins to shed his weighted clothing, as the Ginyu Force stare down a Namekian, confused at coming across one on this planet. However, before they can say much more, Goku arrives on the scene, holding a serious face and looking towards Piccolo. Seeing him having shedded his weighted clothes, Goku tells Piccolo they need to end things fast. He feels something weird about Frieza's power. Piccolo nods, agreeing, having sensed the same thing as Goku. Both turn towards the Ginyu Force, seeing them all holding back laughter at how serious the pair are. And Ginyu goes to check the 2's power level. However, before any scouter can be turned on, Goku appears in front of the Ginyu Force, stopping Ginyu's hand from moving and from activating the scouter. He gives the group a chance to leave the planet and never return. With the Ginyus caught off guard at Goku's speed, wondering how he got there so fast, no one's sure what to do before Goku repeats what he had once said, telling them to leave and never return. Raccoon, feeling insulted, turns to attack Goku. However, in a blink of an eye, Raccoon is on the floor, passed out. As the other Ginyu Force members go to fight back, Goku sighs before disappearing, as Piccolo fires off a giant mouth blast, killing all of them in one move. Piccolo scolds Goku for trying to spare them. However, Goku just explains that as much as he did want to spare them, it was more of a way to save energy for the upcoming battle against Frieza. He wasn't sure if they were hiding any power, much like he sensed in their boss. So, they better get ready to start heading over to Frieza. And just as he says this, the energy of Frieza begins to spike on the far side of the planet. As Goku feels this, he hates the fact his gut feeling was correct, as he and Piccolo fly off towards the energy. Back only a few moments ago, we see Vegeta and Nappa arriving in front of Frieza, the Emperor having stayed on his ship alone, watching everything through a scouter. However, now seeing Vegeta and Nappa in front of him, Vegeta announces how he is here to kill Frieza. The tyrant laughs before climbing out of his pod, while asking Vegeta how he plans to kill him. Last time he checked, he was nowhere near his power. Vegeta just laughs hearing this, as the man begins to power up, shaking the area around them, as Frieza's scouter begins to pick up Vegeta's power, as it begins to rocket upwards, soon arriving at a point where it has far since surpassed Frieza in his first form. The man is shocked, and almost speechless at the fact Vegeta is this strong, and as Vegeta laughs aloud, pointing out how he is the legend of his race, the Super Saiyan, the one thing Frieza fears. He swears it to get revenge of his race, as he rushes forward, landing a solid blow on the tyrannical tyrant's face, kicking up the dirt around him. As Frieza can hardly register what just happened, he is flung backwards, managing to stop the momentum given to him by the force of the last attack. He locks eyes with Vegeta, getting ready to fire off a barrage of death beams. However, the prince continues his assault towards him, dodging and weaving through every blast that comes towards him, before connecting his foot to Frieza's gut, causing the Emperor to stammer backwards and vomit. Vegeta takes this chance to gloat as he shakes off a bit of Frieza vomit off his shoe. Nappa shouts out, telling the prince to save him a bit of Frieza for all the years of abuse. He wants his own revenge. Vegeta laughs aloud, saying how Nappa will get a few hits in later, as right now he needs to get his own revenge. And before Vegeta can go back on the offensive, the power of Frieza is increasing. Vegeta turns to see Frieza growing in size. At first, Vegeta isn't worried, still believing he is more than enough for the likes of Frieza, but soon the alien's power increases to the point where it surpasses Vegeta's, causing the prince to flinch up, seeing the monstrous size of Frieza's second form. Frieza takes the chance to return the favour to Vegeta, slamming his fist firmly into the prince's torso. The prince writhes in pain, while Frieza takes the chance to gloat over him, telling him that he never stood a chance, even though his power caught him off guard, surpassing him in his first state. But he has two more forms from this. Vegeta never stood a chance, like that miserable rock he called a planet. Vegeta hearing this is fueled by rage, realising now that Frieza was the one who killed his race, something he had speculated but never had confirmed. Now fueled by rage, he stands up and swings towards Frieza's head. The tyrant, believing he had now surpassed Vegeta massively, goes to take the hit, only to be surprised as the attack slams into his skull and makes him stagger backwards a few feet once again. Confused, he sees Vegeta standing confidently. As the pair exchange blows, Vegeta's power increasing ever so slightly due to his rage. But when it comes to raw strength, Vegeta is clearly the weaker fighter. But thanks to years and years of combat experience, and with Frieza's lack of combat experience, Vegeta is easily able to stay under fight, using all tricks he knows to stay in the brawl, even using his ability to sense ki to blindside Frieza and give him advantages here and there. As the battle for Earth continues happening planet-wide, Gohan, Trunks and Bulma work as hard as they possibly can to master the machine, to try and turn the tide of the fight. However, both Gohan and Trunks find themselves struggling to concentrate. As they follow Vegeta and Frieza's battle from the safety of their own home, they're confused to sense that if they were to work together, they could easily take down Frieza. Heck, they're pretty sure Vegeta or Goku could take them down alone. So why was their father scared? They must be something they're not able to sense. Maybe they're missing something. So as it stands, Frieza still could possibly grow stronger. So they realise they need this machine more now than ever, hurrying to complete it while following the fight. As Bulma prays that her husband can solve this problem before it gets out of hand, like he always does. Over with the human Z fighters, we see all of them present, managing to keep up with the never-ending assault on Earth, as Tien manages to kill Q, Zarbon and Dodoria with one Ki Koho, effortlessly destroying all three. And as Goku arrives on the battlefield alongside Piccolo between the Prince of all Saiyans and the terrible tyrant of the universe, Goku can now sense that it's only beginning, and whatever lays below the surface of Frieza's power is only just beginning. He shouts out to Vegeta that things need to end here and now, but the Prince, caught up in the heat of battle, tells Goku to not interfere. This is his battle and his revenge. Vegeta pulled out of the battle for a few seconds to tell Kakarot to stay out of his business, now realises the biggest mistake he has made, as he's provided Frieza an opening to begin to transform. Once again, however, with Vegeta's tail still being present and noticeable, and Frieza knowing all about the Great Ape form, he knows to skip past the third form, knowing that Vegeta in his Great Ape state will still be too much for him to handle. So as Frieza begins to power up, jumping all the way to his final form, the energy that leaks from him causes terror planet-wide to anyone who can sense ki, as an intense aura emits from Frieza. It's almost suffocating to those close by. As the transformation finishes, Goku curses the world, now realising that his planet, his friends and his family are all in danger. Goku is furious, but decides to calm himself, thinking of a plan, thinking of how Bulma would handle things, and then he remembers back to a conversation he and Vegeta had, a trait of the Saiyan race. Normally he wouldn't like to fight like this at all, however to save his family, he'll do it. He shouts out to Vegeta and Nappa and tells them to keep Frieza busy, snapping the pair out of their terrified trance. Vegeta looks confused while Goku shouts out for them to stand to their feet and fight till the last second like a true warrior, or are they not elite enough? A vein pops in both Saiyans' head as Frieza chuckles, saying how he is right, and if they want to die, they should at least die fighting. It makes it a lot more enjoyable for him. Plus, it might give them some favour among the other monkeys in hell. Vegeta and Nappa's rage boils over, as Vegeta fires an attack forward, screaming out for Nappa to throw a stupid power ball in the sky. The man is quick to create one, turning both into great apes. Frieza laughs at the sight of this, offering to entertain the idea for a few moments. Seeing this, Goku smiles, knowing he has brought himself and Piccolo some time. Piccolo asks what Goku's plan is here, what's his angle, as the Saiyan smiles that he wants Piccolo to nearly kill him, making the Namekian's eye twitch as Goku tells Piccolo something he heard of Vegeta say, about Saiyans growing stronger when reviving from near death. Piccolo is confused, so Goku tells the Namekian that they'll go grab some sensu beans and power himself up as much as possible. And as much as he hates the idea of cheating his way to power like this, it might be the only way that he can save his family and everyone he cares about. Piccolo, now caught up, agrees as the pair leave the battlefield at top speed, racing towards Korin's place. Back at Capsule Corp, the trio believe they might have finished the machine. However, without Goku present to test it on, they have to gamble testing the device on one of the twins. But both are currently frozen in fear at the power of Frieza. Bulma tries to snap her sons out of this, but even she can feel the ominous aura of Frieza, even though she can't sense ki. However, she just embraces her sons, telling them that it will be alright, and any other time she would want them to stay out of the danger, but right now, this might be their last hope for Earth. Hearing this, the twins snap out of their trance. Trunks, wanting to help and being the first one to snap out, offers to have the machine tested on him. Gohan and Bulma ask if he's sure about this, and Trunks reminds his brother that he is actually weaker than Gohan. So, if he's to go rampaging, Gohan has a better chance of being able to stop him than most other people. Alongside this, if the machine doesn't work and for some reason was to knock Trunks out, Gohan is also smarter, so it makes more sense for Trunks to be the test subject. Besides, if it works, it means he and Gohan can both get transformed and rush into battle to help. Hearing this, no one has any arguments, so they decide to turn the machine on and test it on Trunks. Over with Goku and Piccolo, they arrive at Korin's tower. Quickly catching the cat up on their plan, Korin thinks it's crazy, but tells them he only actually has 3 sensu beans on hand. He had given most of them out to the other Earthlings and Krillin earlier, so this is all he has. Goku, hearing this, hopes that's enough, as they grab the sensu beans and tell Korin they're going to try their best. Flying off to look out and landing in a clearing not too far away, the pair look at one another as Goku lets out a nervous laugh, telling Piccolo to do it. Namekian also looks quite nervous, but Goku tells him that he wanted to kill him not too long ago, so get it out of his system now with a small chuckle. And then Goku gets serious, reminding him that this is their only hope. The alien agrees, placing his hand on Goku's chest, before firing a massive blast into Goku's chest, creating a hole where his guts should be. Goku slowly begins to fall to the floor, his power disappearing, but before he can even hit the ground, a sensu bean has been placed in his mouth, and Goku hops back up, at first not feeling different, but then his energy surges massively. Goku feels the increase and feels so much stronger, but you can tell he's still weaker than Frieza, massively. So, they decide to gamble it all, using the remaining 2 sensu beans on this strategy, and Goku hopes that the Earthlings had saved a few sensu beans. Hell, even one would be good enough. Goku's power grows far beyond what the Saiyan was expecting, by doing this horrifying technique, as Goku's power finally caps out after going down 3 times consecutively. Goku's power is far beyond what he believed was possible, but he's horrified to figure out that it's still not enough to stand up to Frieza. Goku tries to figure out a new plan, thinking of anything he can before thinking about his wife, remembering a conversation they had a while ago, back when he and her first got married. It's a gamble, but it might work, so Goku tells Piccolo he has a new plan, and doesn't share the details of it with the Namekian. As Goku and Piccolo start flying towards the battlefield, Goku takes a detour, stopping a large group of Frieza soldiers, quickly knocking them out and grabbing something as they continue back towards the battlefield. As they arrive on it though, they find both Vegeta and Nappa having been reverted to their base states, having had the Power Ball in the sky destroyed, now both brutally beaten. Goku, realising his plan might be flawed, looks to the sky and sees the moon is still setting from earlier. His plan can still work, he just needs to hope Frieza's not good at reading people. Frieza stands atop of Vegeta, holding a death beam inches away from the prince's face, who can do little but accept his fate, begging for Kakarot to avenge his race. Sensing the Saiyan arrive, Frieza fires a point-blank beam through Vegeta's chest, missing his heart purposely, and destroying his lungs. He then kicks Vegeta towards Nappa, with the bigger Saiyan using whatever strength he had left to catch the prince. As the two elites place their trust in the last warrior of the Saiyan race, Nappa and Vegeta scream out to Kakarot to not fail their race. This causes Frieza's ear to perk up. That's twice now Vegeta has said something about his race towards this new fighter. Frieza stares at him for a few seconds before realising that that new fighter is a Saiyan, and a familiar one at that. He just can't quite figure it out. As Frieza goes to say something, Goku stands there with a smug look on his face, telling Frieza that he should just leave the planet now, as he has grown far too strong for Frieza to manage. The Emperor looks enraged, asking how the Saiyan can be so sure, as Goku throws a scouter towards Frieza, having grabbed it off the soldier earlier, telling the tyrant to read his power level. Frieza, entertaining the idea, puts the scouter on, telling Goku that he would be nothing compared to him. Goku says he wouldn't be so sure, as Goku begins to power up slowly to make sure the scouter doesn't explode. As Frieza begins to read the power levels out, he's impressed at first, reading aloud 3 million, 4 million, 7 million, and then it takes a massive jump, 15 million, and once again, one more jump to 24 million. As Frieza looks back at Goku, removing the scouter from his head, he tells him that he might very well be the strongest Saiyan that he has ever met, and might be the strongest Saiyan that has ever existed, but he can still not win against him. This causes Goku to laugh confidently, as he tells Frieza that he's forgetting a Saiyan's most basic ability, Saiyan 101, as he points towards the moon off in the distance, still setting from the night that has just passed. A sweat runs down Goku's face. He realises his wife made bluffing seem a lot easier than it actually is, but he holds his poker face as he stares down Frieza, whose eyes have widened since doing this. He does the math in his head, looks over to the moon, and realising he's severely outmatched here, he isn't sure what's going on. He's not sure what to do. He's never had a situation like this before, and even if he was to go all out against the monkey, the Great Ape state would still be far too strong for him to deal with. As a cold sweat runs down Frieza's face, Goku sees the hint of fear running through Frieza's eyes. He tells the Emperor that if he leaves the planet now and never returns, he won't kill him, and in fact will let him off scot-free. Frieza clenches his teeth, confused, angered, scared of the possible Super Saiyan standing in front of him. A moment of silence passes. Frieza tries desperately to figure out what to do. Maybe he should leave. However, the idea of retreating from a disgusting Saiyan makes his very skin crawl. He considers fighting. However, that would be unideal. The man in front of him would easily be able to destroy him the moment he went Great Ape. The moment he looked at that moon, he would already be out of his league. He considers taking a sneak attack, trying to remove the tail. As he looks towards the Saiyan, looking at the waistband that Goku wears, and sees there's no tail. He looks a little bit to the right and left, not seeing a tail moving in the wind or just moving at all. Frieza's confused, as he then locks eyes with Goku, and he can see there's a hint of fear in Goku's eyes. The Saiyan's poker face is not amazing. A cold-hearted smile crawls up Frieza's face. He's willing to gamble the fact that this Saiyan doesn't have a tail. He looks towards Goku mournfully, saying that he accepts his fate. The Saiyan should transform now and kill him. He wants to repent for all the sins he has committed. As Goku lets out an audible gulp, the smile on Frieza's face grows even colder and wider. As Frieza shouts out, "Do it, Saiyan! I'm filled with regret, and I want to repent for all my previous actions. Or do you not have your tail, you filthy monkey?" As Goku's eyes widen with fear, Piccolo shouts out that he's not fallen for the bluff. It's time to move on to plan 2. Piccolo wraps one hand around his wrist and fires off a ki blast full power towards Frieza. The Emperor of the Universe takes this attack head on, causing dirt to kick up all around them. As the dust settles, the Tyrant is revealed to have not taken any damage at all, and finds this newfound situation funny. So, in return for Goku's previous offer, he gives him a choice. He will present him with a good option and a bad one. He tells the Saiyan that he can be the first one on his planet to die, not having to watch any of his loved ones die. However, they will be joining him shortly after, in the afterlife. Or he can be the last person to die, put up a fight against him, and be tortured to death. Goku, not one to go down without a fight, races towards Frieza, Piccolo following along him at his side. The pair work together near perfectly, however they are unable to even land a good hit on Frieza. And even when Goku connects a solid punch to Frieza's face, it does little but move Frieza's head backwards and leave a small bruise. Frieza is shocked to have felt the force of the attack, so, in retaliation, he hits Goku with a full power tail slap, causing shock waves to echo off Goku's body as he's flung backwards, sending him into the ground and creating a massive crater, leaving only Piccolo to fight off the monster while Goku pulls himself out of the hole he's been put in. The Namekian tries his best to do anything, but Frieza is hardly trying, and is grown bored of this planet and its games, going to kill Piccolo when Frieza is hit in the head by a ball, knocking him away, as the ball soon gives chase after Frieza. Shocked to see the ball following him, Frieza begins to duck, dodge and dive out of the way as fast as he can. However, the ball has a mind of its own as it follows after him, trying to hit him once again, but Frieza's movements are too fast. Which is when a small blur moves beneath the ball, slamming its knee into the jaw of Frieza, then flipping over the alien. But mid-flip, placing two small hands on top of Frieza's head, and grabbing it with all of its might, before slamming Frieza into the ground, using the momentum of the flip to gain some more power. As Frieza is slammed into the ground, he looks up to see Gohan, eyes bright orange and hair stood up. As Trunks appears next to him, same coloured eyes and hairstyle same as Gohan's. Goku looks confused, shouting out for his two sons. Both turn their heads and slightly point away from the battlefield. Goku's confused but then senses the energy of his wife not too far from here and in the direction they had pointed. He already figured out everything which is going on. The result of whatever this power boost is, the power that's giving Gohan and Trunks a chance to stand up to Frieza, has to be from the machine they were making. He's angry and proud of his sons all at the same time. As he looks towards his rival and friend Piccolo, he shouts out for the Namekian to get off the battlefield. They can't be worrying about the Dragon Balls right now. Then tells Piccolo to take the two Saiyans alongside with him. Both Elite Saiyans protest, however Piccolo's already following orders, flying towards both Saiyans and grabbing them before moving them away. They try to put up a fight but are too injured to do anything. Goku tells his sons to hold Frieza at bay while he gets their mother. They nod as Frieza stands up, looking towards the two small Saiyans in front of him, annoyed that they had done any damage at all. But Trunks and Gohan don't say much, both disappearing out of sight before appearing on opposite sides of Frieza, going to slam their fists into his face. Frieza catches both boys' arm and starts to build ki in the palm of his hands, telling both kids that if they wish to play with the big boys, then he will not hold back. He releases a violent amount of ki that he had built up in his palms, sending both boys flying away, but the pair collect themselves as they fly backwards. Trunks lifts an arm into the air and forms a Destructo Disc, throwing it towards Frieza. The Tyrant jumps over the attack, and while mid-air he is met by Gohan, who axe kicks Frieza into the ground, smashing up the earth around him. Frieza, quickly responding, looks up and fires an I-beam towards Gohan. The boy is unable to dodge the attack as it pierces through his arm, making Gohan fall to the ground. Trunks calls out for his brother as Frieza appears behind him, wrapping his tail around Trunks' neck, asking how the two boys know the one known as Goku. Trunks, now facing Frieza, tells the man to shut up before biting down on Frieza's tail, breaking free of his grasp, and then ducking down, headbutting Frieza directly into the chest, causing Frieza to stagger backwards. Gohan pulls himself up and uses his headband to tie his arm wound to prevent any bleeding out before returning to the fight next to his brother. The pair get ready to fight once more. Over with Goku, he finds his wife stood about a mile away from the battlefield, where the ground still shakes at the power battle happening, with the Bloodstone machine right next to her. Seeing her husband, who is pretty beat up and damaged, She asks if he's alright. Goku brushes this off, however, telling his wife to hurry up and transform him. The woman wastes no time, flipping the switch on, causing Goku's hair to stand on edge as it begins to curve upwards. His pupils shrink as they become smaller and smaller, and Goku screams out in pain. Bulma shouts out to her husband, apologising, telling him that it'll only be like this for a few seconds. Goku screams out even more as he grabs hold of his head. Anger courses through his body. He tries to suppress it, but nothing he can do works. He's beginning to get overwhelmed by it when Bulma calls out, telling her husband she believes in him and he is needed now more than ever. Goku's full concentration goes towards Bulma, listening to her voice, looking at her, making sure he's concentrating on her completely. As his hair begins to rise fully, his eyes turn yellow and his rage disappears. Bulma, seeing the transformation is done, turns the machine off and rushes towards her husband, giving him a hug and asking if he's alright. The man nods, telling her she is brilliant, before he looks shocked, wrapping his arms around her and jumping away as the area around him explodes, destroying the Blitzwave machine. Bulma's confused at what happened as Goku turns around to see both of his sons unconscious, being held by the throat in Frieza's hands. Goku screams out for Frieza to release his kids. While Bulma shares her husband's rage, she is powerless to do anything at this point in time. Frieza just laughs, telling Goku that if he wishes to save his sons, he needs to do two things. First, he needs to revert out of this newfound form of his. Then he needs to tell him all about these Dragon Balls of his. Goku's eyes widen, having forgotten he had brought the Dragon Balls up altogether. He's unsure of what to say, as Bulma tells Frieza that the Dragon Balls are just a legend. Frieza tells the woman that he's familiar with the legend, he's just curious why the monkey said something about them to the Namekian. Goku, now confused at what to do and enraged, goes to move, but Frieza tightens his grip around the boy's neck, causing Gohan to cough up blood, making Bulma call out for her son, as Goku, reluctantly, calms himself, dropping out of this newfound form of his, before he and his wife explain the existence of the Dragon Balls on the planet, refusing to be the reason their children die in front of them. Both parents blame themselves for getting them involved in this fight. With Frieza learning that the Dragon Balls exist on this planet, he tells both parents to go off and collect the Dragon Balls for him. He has a wish he wishes to make. Goku goes to argue, but Frieza once again squeezes down on the boy's throat. Bulma explains that the balls are dormant at the minute and won't be active for another 8 months, but Frieza explains how he doesn't care, telling them to figure something out. Goku looks around trying to figure out what to do, as he then sees something that confuses him. He locks eyes with Trunks, whose eyes are wide open. The pair lock eyes for a few seconds before Trunks' eyes gesture down to his hands. Goku looks down to see a small ki blast forming in Trunks' left hand. With a small nod, they both understand what they need to do, as Goku shouts out to Frieza, saying that if he wants, he can wait here for 8 months before the Dragon Balls are active again. Bulma looks at her husband confused, but before she and Frieza can say anything, a small blast hits Frieza directly in the side of the gut, causing him to release both twins. Goku, seeing his opportunity, channels every bit of rage he has in his body, transforming into this newfound form of his once again, and rocketing forward, slamming his knee directly into Frieza's face, and charging up a massive blast, telling Frieza that he should have just left the planet when he gave the chance, as he completely destroys Frieza. Goku lets out a sigh of relief, sensing Frieza has completely disappeared, before turning down to his sons and helping both of them up. Both are okay, but just really banged up. Bulma embraces Gohan while Trunks is held in his father's arms. The family spend a minute in silence, completely exhausted from this day that had just passed. And that's where I'm going to leave this part. I hope everyone enjoyed, and I hope people don't mind the power levels given in this part.